So the paper I'm using for this painting is Fabriano rough paper. It's £140, and you can see I've already just sketched out the initial sort of outlines, just to give me that, just so that I know where I'm going with the brush. And this is actually I was quite inspired as I drove home from dropping my wife off at work. I was quite inspired by the misty sort of weather, not being able to see very much, and I wanted to do a misty scene. I don't know, I suppose it is a little bit misty, a bit mysterious, but I found this one on Pinterest, this reference, so I roughly sketched it out, and I don't want things to be exactly the same. I just took a look at it and roughly popped down the pencil lines, and just to get this really nice, and I do think it's quite a simple one. And just using Cad Orange for this first wash, so I'm just evenly spreading the paint across the paper, and I will be taking out some area for the sun as well. But first of all, I'm just covering the whole sheet of paper, and I just want to touch in a little bit of Cad red for the top of this sky. So it is quite simple, but you do have to pay attention to the water control, as well as you need to have confidence in your brush strokes. So, but I do think this is quite a simple scene. This is probably the hardest part of this one for me. There's many different ways you can paint the sun. If you're leaving it white, you could obviously use a masking fluid, or I've seen people do sort of put maybe a 5p piece or some coin on the paper, and just maybe I should have done that, just wrapped the coin in some tissue and then rolled it round. But I chose this. I just went in with my brush and struggling to get a rounder sun as I possibly can. But I'm not too fussed about the accuracy of everything. So I'm just going over, I want to darken that sky, deepen the colour. And obviously the darker the sky, the brighter the sun looks in the sky, so that's what I'm going for. But I don't want it too dark, I want it quite a nice deep orange, but that will also make the sun look quite bright. So that's my intention, and I probably messed up the sun anyway. But I'm just going ahead and just coming down the paper and getting that second coat. I want it quite a rich colour, quite nice and vibrant, and just going over that sun again, just try and pull out some more pigment, try and make it as round as possible. But I would probably opt for a coin if I did this one again. So there's a few layers of mountains in this scene, and I'm starting off just using that same orange. I just added some Payne's grey to that orange and a tiny bit of blue, and just added less water to this mix, so it's quite a stronger consistency, quite a thicker paint. But I did allow the paper to fully dry before I went in with this. So I'm just pulling down, and it doesn't really matter if you wanted to go all the way down with this colour, because I will be going back over again. And but I'm just taking that first line of mountains, covering that. In fact, no, I did go all the way down. I'm just doing the voiceover for the video, so I forgot about that. But then I just added a little bit more Payne's grey and a tiny bit of Van Dyke brown to that goldeny orange mix, and that's my second layer of mountain just popping up through the, you can just see it there. And as I come down the painting, as I come to each ridge, I'm just going ever so slightly darker with the mix, just adding a bit more sort of browny earthy colours. as I come down, just to get that nice contrast, and it is looking quite good so far. And then just going down for my next layer, and you don't have to follow the pencil line exactly. I just pop this down as a reference, and I can change things up as I come down if I want the mountain to come up, and just shape it a little bit more. Then you've got that freedom to do so. This is more forgiving than painting trees. I think it's quite nice. It doesn't matter, there's no sort of definite shapes. I'm just going in and making the shapes up. Although I did get the reference off Pinterest, I'm just using that as a rough guide. I just looked at it before I started painting. And I like this because the paint was still wet on the first mountain that I did. Well, the second one, the darker one, you can see I didn't go in and touch that with the other paint in all the places, and so it's left this little line, and it looks almost like a river, and that could be a river coming through the mountains. It looks quite nice, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave that as it is, just a bit of reflective light, and then you've got this bead coming down which is quite dark. I'm happy to leave that as well because I'm going to pop in just a few little details, some little trees and something like that in the, it's quite distant. And then for this last layer, I want to go quite rich and quite dark with the colours. Again, I'm using the brown, any brown will do, but I think this is a Van Dyke brown and a bit of that Payne's grey. So that each mix that I've done, I've just added more to it. So a bit more brown, a bit more grey, a bit more pigment, less water, and just gone down that way. So just to make it a little bit easier for myself. And like I said, it is a really simple painting, but don't be fooled by it. It still does require sort of understanding the brush strokes, and you just got to have confidence with the brush strokes, and it's all about water control as well. So as you're coming down the paper, as you're coming closer to the edge, then you want to use more pigment. And I just wanted to switch to the Hake brush now, just to get the land filled in a little bit quicker. So just continuing with that brown, that dark colour. So this is the first edge of the mountains, and this is where I made a mistake using the Hake brush. It holds a lot of water, and I'm going in with a mix with more water than I've put down beside it. So I think I'm going to just switch now to the mop brush just to carry on that. I want a cohesive mountain range, and although it does change colour, I'm happy with that. It's more of a grey as you come down and as you go to the right hand side. But it just adds interest. I don't want it flat and just one tone. I want different tones to come through as well, just to keep things interesting. And remember I said you just got to have confidence with that brush. So just paint and don't really worry about the outcome. Just follow the lines and use plenty of pigment while you're getting further on in the stages, and it's all good. So you can see the sort of second mountain down as it comes up over the others. You can see the colour sort of blending and mixing a little bit, which looks quite nice. It gives a little bit of depth to that mountain, and you can see as it softens into the next one, it does separate, so it looks like a separate mountain, and there's that different tone which separates that one from the one below. So I'm quite happy with this. I'm just going to let the pigment dry, and then I've got the birds to paint as well. So things are looking okay. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Just want to make sure that the paint doesn't bleed back into the painting. Just want to go in and darken this closest land mass. just to give me that real contrast in the scene. You can see there's a lot of buckling going on. The paper's all uneven, but that happens when you use plenty of water, which this scene needed. But you just gotta bear that in mind as you paint. And it's just a brown mix with the grey. Either grey will do, either brown will do. But this is Payne's grey and probably a Van Dyke brown. And I'll use similar colour as well for the birds. Probably more Payne's grey or neutral tint than brown. And I just want to get these birds in, and it is quite difficult because the paper is all buckled up, so and I don't want to touch that bottom paint that I've just applied. And I will go in and go over these once it does dry, just to give me a really nice pop. Maybe with a pen that would work. I usually do the birds in pen, but here we go. Hopefully this one doesn't look like a flying saucer. Not quite happy with that, but I will fix that last bird. It is closer to us, so I will fix it with pen, so it's not all lost. But I'm going to let this dry and then go in with some finer details. The reason why I do use the pen when I'm painting in the birds, it's just really for me to have more control. It's easier to draw than to paint, especially with a thinner brush. Just to give me that accurate sort of mark, and that's why I use the pen. But that's it for this one. I really do hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you found it useful. Why not give it a go? I'd love to know your thoughts, any feedback, and if you do like this video, please do give us a thumbs up. But that's it, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, bye bye.